Jive Talkin with Shane D. 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 Jive Talkin. Dandy. And we have that. Okay, it's 5 and 12. Okay, we're going to remember that for by damn it. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. Hold on there, kitty cat. Welcome back to another episode of Jive Talkin with Shane D. That's right. It's the weekly heavy metal and hard rock news, because the news always happens. The news cycle is always going, and I like to think I have my pulse on everything that's happening in heavy metal. So many newses. So many newses to get to. So welcome aboard. I do want to let everyone know that you can just listen to this on Spotify, but you can also watch the video that accompanies the audio. You can see I'm circling two faces here, which would be Nikki Sixx and Eddie Vedder, which is our first story. But you can always just listen to it on Spotify, or you can watch the video version. Video version is where you get the comments, and I do have your comments from last episode ready to go. I'm sure we'll hear from Anthony on how fantastic that intro was, but we're going to get into the news, because the news is where it's at. You've seen these two donkeys right here. You've got Eddie Vedder there. He's the guy that sang, gnashed his teeth and bit the recessed lady's breasts. How could I forget? He's Pearl Jam. Eddie Vedder's Pearl Jam, and then you got Nikki Sixx here, and apparently something has happened. I don't know that they were ever friends, because the glam and hair metal crew and the grunge crew don't get along, because the grunge crew, although it only came in for a short period, if you think about it, grunge was only really big for about 5 years there when Nirvana exploded and everything else, and it kind of fell back off. It's still around. Grunge is still around, but it really exploded, and then it was just kind of, around. But they don't get along, Nikki Sixx and him. And you can see that face right there. Nikki Sixx's face is just saying, "You son of a gun, come at me." And Eddie Vedder's looking over his shoulder like, "What, bro? I've got a solid jawline, pal. I can take a punch." Hopefully this will get into the situation where it says Motley Crue's Nikki Sixx fires back at Eddie Vedder, calls Pearl Jam one of the most boring bands in history. I don't know that would be true, right? I'm sure you could find other bands that are more boring. That Eddie Vedder used to climb up the rafters and jump off the lighting rigs into the audience and stuff, really crush some bones of them young girls and boys that were out in the audience. I never saw Nikki Sixx do anything like that. I saw him get drunk and roll all over the stage, but let's see what maybe this will give us some background here. It says, Motley Crue's Nikki Sixx has blasted Pearl Jam's one of the most boring bands in history after Eddie Vedder revealed that he despised, oh boy, the glam metal scene of the late 1980s. He despised it? They need to fight. In an in-depth interview with the New York Times, to promote his upcoming solo album, Vedder discussed a variety of topics, including what ripples of change he believes the Generation X alternative rock culture of the early 90s may have been responsible for. And he said, I used to work in San Diego, loading gear at clubs. Vedder said, I ended up being at shows that I wouldn't have chosen to go to. Are you a prissy little prissy princess? Bands that monopolize late 80s MTV, the metal bands that I'm trying to be nice, I despised. Girls, 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 and Motley Crue, expletive. So he put in a swear there. I think it was fuck, because it says girls, 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 and Motley Crue, fuck you. I hated it. I hated how it made the fellas look. I hated how it made the women look. It felt so vacuous. What's that word? Guys, can you put that down there? And I need a definition too. Now I'm thinking Eddie Vedder's a dick. The Pearl Jam singer continued, Guns N' Roses came out. Of course he's going to say he liked them. Guns N' Roses came out, and thank God. At least, because he's hoping to get that opening slot with Guns N' Roses one day. At least had some teeth. But I'm circling back to say that one of the things I appreciated was that in Seattle and the alternative crowd, the girls could wear their combat boots and sweaters, and their hair looked like Cat Powers and not Heather Locklear's. Nothing against her. They weren't selling themselves short. They should have an opinion and be respected. I think that's changed that lasted. I think it's changed that lasted. Jesus Christ. I'm getting off to a bad foot here. It sounds so trite. Yes, you do. But before then, it was bustier. The only person who wore a bustier in the 1990s that I could appreciate was Perry Farrell. Perry Farrell's a very flat, skinny, lanky kind of individual. I don't see that he would have a big bra on or anything like that. On February 4th, Sixx took to his Twitter to respond to Vedder's comments, writing, "Made me laugh today reading how much the singer in Pearl Jam hated Motley Crue. Now considering that they're one of the most boring bands in history, it's kind of a compliment, isn't it?" I mean, he's not completely wrong. I did like that first Pearl Jam record that they put out. What was that called? 10? I liked 10. I thought it was pretty solid all the way through. And then I just got bored after a while. I think there was like 2 good songs on the second one that was called Verses. And then there might have been 1 or 2 that was on Vitology. And after that, I was completely gone. I hadn't paid attention to it. In response to fans' tweets, Sixx compared Vedder's vocal technique to singing the Marbles in Your Mouth and wrote to a Pearl Jam fan who tweeted in defense of Vedder, "Remember, there were zillions of brown-haired bands from brown-haired fans. Go find them. You will know them by the bored look on their face." Well, his face didn't. He looked kind of bored there, Nikki Sixx. Eddie Vedder looks really intense, but Nikki Sixx looks a bit irritated and bored. It's like someone asking him for his autograph. Back in 2019, Sixx spoke to the UK Kerrang, spoke about the rise of grunge in the early 1990s, forced most hard rock bands off the radio on MTV with album and tour sales plummeting, asked if it was fair that Crue was lumped in with the bands such as Poison and Warrant. Nikki replied, "I have to say that I don't think that Nirvana and Pearl Jam killed the bands you mentioned. I think they killed themselves. They were making copycat music. We, on the other hand, simply imploded." Yeah. He has a point there because I've heard the argument that I think what's his name? Rock Talkin? Rock Talkin with Jimmy Jojo? What's his name? Rock Talk with Ritzy Capri. I can't remember his name now. It's escaping me. Rock Talk with... He's the Canadian fella. But he's got a good point that he makes about ballads is what killed hair metal. Is everyone started doing the ballads. When Metallica did the ballad, Nothing Else Matters, everyone was, not that they started it, but it was kind of the doo-doo pile on top of the mountain of ballads because everyone was doing the ballad and Rock Talk with Mitch LaFon. That's what it is. But we can call him Ritzy Capri, can't we? I listen to his podcast every once in a while, but he talks that it wasn't grunge that killed it, even though he's not a big fan of grunge. He just says that it was the rock ballad that killed hair rock. And there's the tweets, and there's the one from Day Steph saying, "My best friend is about to have a baby. I will recommend Pearl Jam songs to put the baby to sleep. Ha ha ha." And then Nikki Sixx replied to her, "Or just sing to the baby with marbles in your mouth. Very zen." Oh, I think Eddie, he got himself in a bit of trouble there. Next up in this piqued my interest was Blaze Bayley. Why heavy metal is the devil's music. Blaze Bayley, he was in Iron Maiden there for a scant period of time. And what has he got to say? British heavy metal vocalist Blaze Bayley, who's still doing solo stuff, who fronted Iron Maiden for more than 20 years ago, spoke to Metal Pilgrim about how the rise of grunge in the early 90s. Oh, we got 90. Oh, we got more grunge. More grunge. How the rise of grunge in the 90s forced most hard rock bands off the radio and MTV with album. Jesus, it's like they were just talking about this, right? With album and tour sales plummeting, addressing the oh God, that I know what it's saying there, but it's not coming out of my mouth. Cyclical nature of trends, he said, and transcribed by the blabbermouth.com. For a few of, I'm not even goofing this up, man. This is bad. For a few of is, metal never went away. We didn't want grunge. I think largely the journalist said about grunge, this is the next big thing. When I was in Wolfsbane, we are happy-go-lucky guys trying to be positive, and he is, Blaze Bayley is a very positive fellow. If you've seen some of that live footage that he's got on his, on YouTube, he's very, very positive, upbeat, excited to see everyone in the audience. Grunge comes, let's see, when I was in Wolfsbane, we are happy-go-lucky guys trying to be positive and enjoying life. Grunge comes, they're all looking at their shoes, they're miserable. I think that's called shoegaze. When they look at the shoes, the shoe rock, Catherine Wheel and stuff like that, that's great music, but I think it's more shoegaze. Think you put Deftones and stuff in there too. They're miserable, they're suicidal, the opposite of Wolfsbane, the opposite of a lot of bands at the time. The people that really loved this music carried on, he continued. There's something about it, and grunge had its place, but it didn't last, and he's right about that. Those bands didn't really last. I think it's a difference in values. Metal isn't really getting bigger, it's just slowly going out, and we refuse to let metal go. What? You're nuts. And when you see metal live and you see bands that believe and plays well, it's irresistible. It's the devil's music. We know that because it's completely irresistible and you'll do anything to hear more of it. Metal is, this is him, he's still rattling on here. Metal is something that grips you in a certain way. I agree. It transcends fashion. I told you, yeah, because remember what we said about the fashion. If things go in circles, well, I've been unpopular and unfashionable for more than 35 years that I've been going. But I'm still going. So I'm trying not to be popular, not to be fashionable, and then my music, my brand of metal will just keep going. And every so often, every 10 years, there'll be a little bump where you people go, oh, Blaze Bayley. And then I'll just be where I was before. The most important thing, man, is that it comes from the heart. There's something about metal that absorbs me, transforms me, and takes me out of the normal world and away from everyday problems. Well, that's the sweet Lord Satan taking you to hell. Look at what a strapping man he is, right? This guy's the guy that'll punch your lights out if you say something to him like, I don't like those records you're on with Iron Maiden. The 58-year-old Bayley, who was born in Birmingham, England. Oh, I should have done that whole thing in English. Recorded 2 studio albums with Iron Maiden, the aforementioned The X Factor and Virtual XI, or Virtual, 11? Before Bruce Dickinson returned to the group, the Maiden albums he appeared on sold considerably less than the band's prior releases and were their lowest charting titles in the group's home country since 1981's Killers. Why was Killers bad? Why didn't that sell? Since leaving Iron Maiden in 1999, Bayley has released a number of albums, including several under the moniker Blaze and more than a handful under his own name. He also appeared on 2012's Wolfsbane Saves the World, the first album of new material by Wolfsbane since the group self-titled 1994 effort. I wonder if we could do a first listen of Wolfsbane. I wonder if they're on the Spotify. We could check that out. Hey, let me ask you this. Are you a Queensryche fan? Can I tell you about my friend, Todd Le Torre? Did I tell you that we're friends? He posted my Queensryche video. He posted my Queensryche video on his Facebook page. That means friendship. Todd Le Torre completes vocals for 6 songs on a new Queensryche album. I don't have the article here. I do have the one we're going to read about this, but I did read something about Jeff Tate talking about how obscene they were offered. The original lineup of Queensryche was offered an obscene amount of money to get back together and tour. But, that's just not enough money to get all those fellas in the room again. A little over a month ago, Queensryche entered the studio to begin recording its new album for a tentative late 2022 release. Helming the effort once again is Chris Zeus Harris, who previously worked with the band on the 2015 Condition Human. I got umlauts over the U, Condition Human, and 2019's The Verdict, which that wasn't a bad album if it's the one I listened to. Earlier today, the official Queensryche Instagram account shared a photo of singer Todd Le Torre in the studio along with the following message. Todd has 6 songs down on vocals so far for the new Queensryche album. Things are progressing. At Zeus Producer, hashtag Queensryche, hashtag in the studio, hashtag tracking, hashtag vocal, hashtag Todd Le Torre, hashtag tit. Anyways, last November, Le Torre told Canada's The Metal Voice about the musical direction of the new Queensryche material. It doesn't sound like The Verdict. It's its own new kind of thing. We really kind of just focused more on melodic hooks. I don't think we went in thinking like, oh, we need to sound all old school or new or this. He continued, what we did on this record, every other time, each guy would kind of submit their own song ideas, and then we would kind of work on that. But we did on this record was, what we did on, but what we did on this record was, other than Eddie Jackson's bass, Eddie has a couple of songs that are really cool, that he wrote and then showed us kind of when they were pretty much done. Yeah, that's the way to write a song. You come in and go, here's a song, and then everyone goes, that's really good, man. And then you get all the writing credits for it. Then you get all the money. Because then it gets in a Pepsi commercial, and then you get all the money. Let's see. It has a couple of songs really cool that he wrote and then showed us. Pretty much the way it was done. And then Michael Wilton guitar kind of wrote some interesting chords, still staying within the keys and everything. But we all got in a room with our here. See, I'm not screwing all this up. This is some typing bullshit too. So I don't want everyone to go, God, this guy's a jackass. They can't read, because there's some legit crap here. We literally started from scratch. Like, Michael, what do you got? And he would come up with a riff. And Casey Grillo, who sit on the drums, and Todd Le Torre plays drums too. So Casey Grillo, you better watch your back. Or I would sit on the drums. See, there he is. We were all actually in a room and just tired. Oh, Jesus. We are all actually in a room and just tried it like the good old days. I bet you there's people, I bet you guys are just reading along with me going, oh, no, it's like a 3-year-old trying to read, and you guys are just scanning word for word with me going, oh, God, he's going to screw up again. That's enough of that. New Queensryche record. What does it say about Scott Rockenfield? For the past 5 years, Grillo has been filling in on Queensryche's original drummer Scott Rockenfield, who stepped away from the band's touring activities in the early 2017 to spend time with his young son. Yeah, and then there was like Scott Rockenfield built a website, like he's going to do a Queensryche 2 or something. In early October, Rockenfield filed a lawsuit against the band, fellow original members Wilton and Jackson, alleging, among other things, breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duty, and wrongful discharge. Queensryche. Oh, there's an image of old Todd Le Torre. He's got a good beard on him. Queensryche recently pulled out of a Scorpions scheduled Sin City Nights Las Vegas residency in order to support Judas Priest on the 50 Heavy Metal Years North American Tour dates in March, April 2022. God, I'm really trying to avoid going to concerts and everything now. I saw Ghost. That's another story that's going to be popping up here next. But I saw Ghost and Volbeat. It was really good. It was fun. But I just don't want to get around them kinds of crowds. And we had seats, so then you're stuck in that situation, and then you got a guy behind you going, just all over the place. But anyway, anywho, I believe Judas Priest is coming in March or April, and I wouldn't mind seeing that. Judas Priest and Queensryche. I think they did the right thing. Jumping on with Judas Priest and off with this Scorpions, right? The Big City Nights. And there he is. There's Todd Le Torre, my good friend, because we're friends now. You can watch a performance in Hershey, Pennsylvania of Ghost. That's the new Ghost man. He looked pretty good. It was. I got the vibe in the audience that the love affair with Ghost is slowly dwindling. And another thing that I would say, there was energy there, but it wasn't like I've seen him before, The other thing that I will say, too, is when the singer, Papa Emeritus 4, or I guess you just say Papa Emeritus, right? When he talks to the audience, it is very difficult to understand what he says because he tries to talk with the Pennsylvania accent, like, how are you guys doing out there tonight, huh? You having a good time, huh? Are we rocking out really good, huh? You enjoy yourself? So he's kind of mumbles a lot, and you're just standing there kind of going, yeah, because you don't understand what he says. So he has to keep repeating himself because you can't quite understand him. Not only is he kind of talking like this, hey, what do you think of that? But he's wearing a mask, so it makes it a bit harder. It's a very form-fitting mask. It cradles his face perfectly, but there was one moment where he's like, oh, you guys ready? We're going to get your motor humming. You guys like to make the motor humming sound. You can do it, make them, So the whole audience is going, brrr. It's like, oh, yes, that's very good. I like that motor humming sound. It's nice. So my ears. Fan film video Ghost February 8th concert at Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania can be seen below. Ghost kicked off its co-headlining tour with Volbeat. Wait a minute, girl. Wait a minute. On January 25th at Reno Event Center in Reno, Nevada. During its 16-song set, Ghost performed the recent release single Hunter's Moon. Yeah, they didn't do Call Me Little Sunshine. You know the new song? We did a reaction video to Call Me Little Sunshine. They didn't do that. They did that Hunter's Moon. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Some Ghost songs, they hit you and you go, I don't know what to think of that. The more you listen, the more you go, I like it. It's good. And then there's songs that you listen to and you go, oh, that's okay. And then they get worse as you go. Hunter's Moon for me is hashtag a lot of Broadway metal. And they did do a brand spanking new song as the very first song of the night called that Case Orion. We mentioned that in the video Autopsy. And they did that, and that is 100% Broadway metal. I mean, leg kicks, spins. You can have the whole Rockettes out there kicking and doing leggies and stuff. Let's go down and just see a clip of this. Let's see. Do we want to do Dance Me Cabri? Yeah, he sure is wearing a lot of mummy dust. Oh, they sure got the whole damn thing. That's what I'm talking about. Them people in the audience, they just, you look just like Bloody Mary, Mariana Cross. That's it, Dance Me Cabri. What do you think of that? See how he dances really Broadway style? Come on, everybody! You can do it! Costumes are pretty good on these And this little fella here, this little guitar playing guy with the white guitar, there's one that's got a black guitar, one that's got a white guitar. The white guitar guy kept going off and playing guitar solos and shit, and he'd come over and go, "Hey, stop doing that. You're rocking out too much." It's a fun, good time. Is it as satanic as you think that it would be? Absolutely not. It's silly Broadway fun is what I would say to anyone that's going, should I go see Ghost? You'll have a good time. There's a couple of giggles in there. You'll have some fun and stuff. But there you have that. Should we get a taste of Hunter's Moon?
Thank you very much.
Oh, he's talking.
How the fuck are you doing, Pennsylvania?
So you can understand that.
You good? I know it's not a weekend or anything. So I know you might be sort of sober and stuff.
Yeah, he made that mention too. He's like,
You feel like a little surrender?
do you see how quiet it is?
Well, good. Anybody else?
Do you understand what I'm saying there? See how quiet that was when he talked? People are going, I don't know what he's saying. Barbara, I don't know what he's saying, for Christ's sakes. Let's just tap our toes when he starts singing again. So not too shabby. I think this was kind of a money grab tour. You get Volbeat, you get Ghost, and you head out, and there wasn't a whole lot of pizzazz to the stage setup or anything like that, like Ghost usually does. So I'm thinking it was a quick one. Then what he'll do is they'll go back and release Impera, the new album, and then they'll put together, they're probably working on a big stage design and stuff to happen at the show and everything, and they'll come back with the Ghost Imperator. Let's talk about this fancy man right here, Tom Hunting, Exodus. He was diagnosed with cancer. They did an amazing GoFundMe, and it says, thanks to science, they can't find any cancer in me right now. I hope they turn the screen on, right? Science is damn great, but let's hope they turned on all the monitors and joysticks and everything that they needed to. They were looking at the right spots. Exodus drummer Tom Hunting says that there are no words to describe how much he appreciates the support he has gotten for the heavy metal community during his battle with squamous cell carcinoma, SCC, of the stomach. Stomach cancer, jeez. The 56-year-old who underwent a successful total gastrectomy, oh my God, in July 2021 discussed his ordeal in a new interview with Pamela Calderon of Chile's Rock.cl. He said, as described by Blabbermouth, as transcribed by Blabbermouth, they're the ones that are screwing me. They're the ones that are screwing up my mouth and my words. I'm so grateful to the metal community, its powerful force, to have those vibrations behind you. Thanks to science, the medical science, they can't find any cancer in me right now. He continued, so that's awesome. They did surgery last July the 12th, and I'm adjusting to a new lifestyle. A different type of relationship with food, but life is good. I don't have to get any more chemotherapy because they got it all. That's wonderful. They turned a bad situation around for me, so I am very grateful. I don't even know how to thank everybody. Let's see if it mentions how much was raised, because it was, when I looked at it, I was like, wow, that is absolutely fantastic. It says a GoFundMe campaign to help Hunting with medical expenses had previously raised more than $114,000, including $5,000 from Tom's former Exodus bandmate, current Metallica guitar player, you might know him, Kirk Hamlet, and $1,500 from Fozzy singer and wrestling superstar Chris Jericho. Exodus released its new album Persona Non Grata on November 19th via Nuclear Blast Records. The LP was recorded at a studio in Lake Almanor, California. Is this a place that Hunting owns? And was engineered by Steve Lagaudi and Exodus. It was produced by Exodus and was mixed by Andy Sneap. You know him, right? Do you know who Andy Sneap is? He's that fella that Judas Priest kicked out of the band and then got back in the band. For the first time in the band's history, they returned to Swedish artist Par Olofsson to create the album artwork. I sure would like to see some of the other artwork that he's done, because maybe that'd spark something for my brains, like how many bands he's done. There you have that. I can't even remember what he was asking for in that GoFundMe, but it was pretty modest. It was like $20,000 or something. So to end up with $114,000 to cover his medical expenses is absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Cancer is, well, I think I speak for everyone on the planet when I say fuck cancer, right? I believe that I'm speaking for everyone. I don't think there's anyone that goes, no, that's pretty awesome. There was one more story that I did want to look at. And I'm just going to scroll through here real quickly because I guess I didn't add it to the thing. Yeah, here we go. Dynasty, KISS Dynasty collectible figures. See, remember when we were talking about action figures and that Bond, and that not Bon Scott, but that Paul Bailoff Exodus figure didn't look much like him? Look, there you go. KISS Dynasty, that's who you do. You make a bunch, and you've got a built-in audience, because someone will say, Timmy, you already have all those KISS action, but not the Dynasty, Mom. I don't have Dynasty action figures. I think I've got 2 sets. I think I got the KISS Alive. They're all in a storage unit. I think I got, I had those real cheap, crappy ones that they first came out with a long, long time ago. They were just all jerky and gurky. And then those really nice ones, like from Todd McFarlane or whatever, that was the KISS Alive. And I had those, but these don't look too bad. Let's see what Knucklebones is going to say here. Knucklebones, creator of the Rock Icons music collectible series, has announced the production of a new bundle of KISS figures. Seats are wet right now. Every 50-year-old KISS fan in the world has just pissed himself in the chair, except me. Set of 4 or separately. You can get them separate. Available for pre-order now at this location. The statues are based on the costumes the 4 members of KISS wore during the band's Dynasty period in 1979. Is that the biggest record KISS ever put out? Because I Was Made for Lovin' You was a massive hit. And if I'm a betting man, and I'm going to go to my Spotify right now, and I'm going to do KISS. I was listening to KISS Asylum. I want to bet that's I Was Made for Lovin' You, #1 jam that they have here. 505 million plays. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on to your hats down here. I'm seeing numbers. This is a limited edition hand-cast statue. Only 3,000 will be cast for KISS superfans worldwide. Guess what? I'm not one of them, because the price is 3,000. That's all they're going to make? Yeah, they're already out of my price range. If they're at Target, I'll buy them. These exclusive KISS statues are hand-painted and numbered and come with a certificate of authenticity printed on the base of each collectible statue. Shipping is estimated for late spring, summer 2022. Each statue sells for $159 and ships worldwide. So there you have that. Let's see what it says. I Was Made for Lovin' You was released as the A-side of KISS's first single from Dynasty. It was the band's second gold single next to Beth, right? Selling over 1 million copies. The single reached number 11 on the U.S. Billboard singles charts. The song also became a top 10 hit in Australia, reached number 6 on the ARIA charts in 1979. The song fared the best in Western Europe, where it became a top 20 hit in Sweden and a top 10 hit in Norway. What year was this? 1979. So they weren't burning churches, and there wasn't no black metal back then. So they were all shaking their asses to I Was Made for Lovin' You. Made it to number 2 position in France, Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And in Holland, it became a number 1 smash. In 2018, Simmons said that he hated performing I Was Made for Lovin' You because he is forced to sing like his grandmother, asking in an interview with OK Magazine to name a song that he wasn't initially crazy about that ended up becoming a hit. Gene said, well, Paul Stanley comes in and he says, did you write any songs? I go, oh, yeah, I've got one called Almost Human. Yeah? How does it go? I'm almost human, the flesh and blood I may. I'm almost human, I can't help feeling strange. Yeah, that's cool. That's a Gene song. How about you, Paul? He goes, I've got one. He always says that. It goes, now what it means. I know exactly what you mean in the darkness. Claps. Love that. There's something I want to do. Yeah, I know what that something is. Wow, that's a cool song. Okay, what's my part? Sings. Do, 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 do. Gene says, you're killing me, really? I'm going to sing like my grandmother. Do, 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 do. I hate playing that song to this day. Stadiums full of people jump up and down, even grandmas now that are in the audience. A lot of grandmas. They jump up and down like biblical locusts. They go nuts with tattoos and grills and they're all jumping up and down and I'm going do 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 do. Kill me now. Kill me now, Gene says. Still to this day, I hate that song. He doesn't mind singing Christine 16. Now that day I saw you coming out of school, that day I said, Hotch, I got to have you. I got to have you. He doesn't mind singing that one. That one can stick around, right? Last story and then your comments here, my fine, fantastic freaks. Judas Priest, you guys need to pick it up a notch. Remember when we talked about Judas Priest being amped to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Judas Priest is trailing 6 other artists in the 2002 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction fan vote. And I'm stoked to get down and see who these 6 artists are that he is that they are trailing behind. Judas Priest is trailing behind Eminem. He's that hip hop rapper kid. Duran Duran, Pat Benatar, Dolly Parton, Eurythmics, and Lionel Richie. Boy, old Rob Halford was not kidding when he said put more metal in there, right? Because, my God, Eminem, Duran Duran, Pat Benatar, Dolly Parton, and the Eurythmics. Pat Benatar is just about as rock as you can get. More than 1 million votes have already been cast since voting began. Now, through April 29th, fans can vote every day through the Hall of Fame's website. The top 5 artists, as selected by the public, will comprise a fan's ballot that will be tallied along with other ballots to select the 2022 inductees. Now, what I just read there was, it's cute that you're voting online and everything else, but your votes along with other ballots that we have over here, it chooses who's going to be inducted in. Do you tell Dolly Parton that she can't be in there? She's like 90 years old, even though she looks like she's 45. They're thinking, who can we kick, man? We got to kick somebody off. Eminem's going to be entertaining. Duran Duran, Pat Benatar's got to go in. She's in for sure. Let's see if it says who's what. As of early today, Eminem received 141,432 votes. Duran Duran, 118,000. Pat Benatar, 112. Dolly Parton, 95. Eurythmics, 72,000. Lionel Richie, 66,000. And Judas Priest, 64,000. So we're sneaking up on old Lionel Richie. What's your favorite Lionel Richie songs? I love, oh, what a feeling when we're dancing on the ceiling. And then I like that one. Hey, jumbo, jumbo. So get in the comments and tell me what your favorite Lionel Richie songs are. I mean, who are you going to vote for in there? You can vote once a day. If you wanted to, you could vote for each one of these every day of the week. But I would say put all your votes towards Judas Priest if you can. That's it. According to the Hall of Fame, the Judas Priest members that would get inducted include current member Rob Halford, vocals, Ian Hill, bass, Glenn Tipton, guitars, and Scott Travis, drums, along with former members KK Downing. And I did read something where KK Downing's got a hard-on for it. He's pretty happy about it. Les Binks. That doesn't ring a bell to me. Someone get in the comments and tell me about the Les Binks years on drums. Would that be early 70s? And late drummer Dave Holland, whom we love. Judas Priest was previously on the ballot of rock and roll induction in 2020, but failed to receive enough votes. If we can't get more votes than Dolly Parton and Lionel Richie, I'll just shit in my hat. Okay? That's all I'm saying about that. So if you're interested in voting, you can vote every day and go to the website and do it. It is time. 7 comments here. So we're going to get into them. Mike Buchanan coming in. Speaking of Eddie Trunk, on a recent show, Alice Cooper revealed that he was working of 2 different kinds of hard rock albums. Really? He's working with longtime producer Bob Ezrin. Yeah, he did all the Kiss stuff too. The first one of them should be out later this year. Now, speaking of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think their issue was naming themselves Rock and Roll instead of Music Hall of Fame. I agree with that, which causes people to say those guys are not rock music. And yes, Priest belongs in the Hall of Fame. There's no Heavy Metal Hall of Fame, along with the bands you mentioned. But alas, you are correct. Metal bands will get forgotten and looked over. I've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since I love music. I love the entire experience. Hey, it's great to go and check that stuff out. You go to the Rock and Roll, the Hard Rock Cafe and the Hard Rock Casinos and the Rock and Roll, all of that, and you go see all that cool stuff. I love that, But I think you're right. A lot of the bands that I'm into, they're never going to be in any kind of halls of fame, and it doesn't make me think any less of them. Hart coming at you there, Mike. Bang! There you go. And Anthony Ferguson. Let's see what he thinks of the intro this time. Mr. Shane D, good God, for a guy who was not feeling it. You killed it on the theme song. It was great. I love the way your vocals went along with the harmonies of your vocal. Amazing with those different tones. Well, I try. You are using on that famous keyboard, which are the masters of. You need to go back and listen to how your vocals went in sync with that keyboard. And are you looking in this money scam? Ace Frehley, Bruce Kulick, and Vinny the Fingers. And this is the name of the event. Bruce Kulick confirmed for what? Okay, this is that thing. Bruce Kulick, Vinnie Vincent, Ace Frehley. It's a scam. Vincent show in Tennessee. This is the name of the event. Bruce Kulick confirmed for Creature Fest 2022 alongside Ace Frehley, Vinny the Fingers Vincent. And I love that he puts the fingers in there because I've done so many Vinny Vincent videos. He's clearly knows that I started with the Vinny the Fingers. Hey, Vinny the Fingers. Give me a guitar over here. I'll show you how I use my fingers. So he's in deep in the story. Vinny the Fingers Vincent. Please try to do a deep dive into this on an upcoming Jive Talkin with Shane D extravaganza. I think I'm going to have to. I'll have to remember to look that up and see what all of that hubbub is about, because no one's come out and said anything, have they? Like, this ain't happening. Has Bruce Kulick or something came out and said this ain't happening? I don't know. Blingo! There's your heart. Mike Buchanan, hey, all you Shaniac Diablo maniacs, I like that. We'll come up with something. I think we should petition Super 7 Toys for a Shane Diablo reaction event. Michael, you're wonderful, you're sweet, that'll never happen. I would love that. That would be the greatest birthday gift of all time. Or Christmas gift, or anniversary gift, or anything, for anyone. But that's never going to happen. They're going to go, this guy's a jackass. And he doesn't even have like millions of subscribers. So it don't matter. There's your heart. Jolly Jake Lavelle. BMG nearly owns all of the music these days, and they bought it by selling 5 cassette tapes for a penny. Yes, mine was 10. More than likely, you and I, Shane, scotch taped our penny and mailed it to the Columbia House. Yes, Columbia House, the other music for a penny company, BMG, bought them up in 2005. Oh, and Rick Belt came in. LOL, Jolly Jake. I did Columbia House and BMG both over and over. Ah, the days. Yeah, you could really. Now, there wasn't a whole lot to pick from. You couldn't, I think the way that worked is they had like an overstock of shit that didn't sell. A lot of Yngwie records and a lot of, like particular albums. Oh, do you want this, this album from Poison that didn't do very good, but it's nothing that's like a classic or anything. It was just a bunch of stuff like that. And you'd have to go, Ugh. Sometimes it'd take you half an hour to an hour to figure 10 tapes that you wanted to get, even though you're only putting a goddamn penny in there to send to them. It'd take you a long time to figure out what 10 tapes you wanted to get, 5 or 10 tapes. You're both getting hearts there because this guy, Rick Belk, he's wearing that sweet shirt. So he's getting a bling and a bling for the comment. P.O.R. Pal P.O. coming in. Wow, didn't know about the Dio documentary. Thanks, Shane. That's what the news is for. I'm just here reporting news and getting it to the people that may have missed it. I'm less informed nowadays compared to me getting all the info back in my roadie days. Oh, I want to hear stories. Dio meant a lot to me musically. He and Rob Halford are literally metal rock gods to me. I agree with that 100%. Gene Simmons, man, he's like the music version of Sammy the Bull Gravano, having a piece of the pie of everything. Sammy Gravano basically ran whole of New York construction. Yeah, I watched a great documentary about that. Was he the head of the 5 families? They were all divvying over them in construction jobs. I like him. I mean, I grew up on Kiss music, but man, if he never had the music, he would have probably be well off guy eventually. Yeah. But yeah, getting enough money, probably almost everyone could get a good start. If you've read his book, Kiss and Makeup, or whatever, that first book he put out, Gene Simmons was an entrepreneur at the age of 7. What he did is he shirked all his buddies at school out of their comic books. So he put up a flyer on the wall saying he'd pay a nickel for at least the way I remember it in the book was, he put up a flyer all over the school saying, I'll pay a nickel for your comic books you don't want. And people just piled it in, and he was throwing the nickels out. And then he went down to the comic book palace, and he had a bunch of good shit in there. So he was selling them off to the comic book dude and made a bunch of money off of that when he was just getting them for a nickel. So he's always had that entrepreneurial spirit. And Gene Simmons, and P.O., you're right, he would have made some money somehow, some way. Running guns, doing something. He would have been doing something. Pling, there is your... oh boy, and I think on the last episode, there's your heart, P.O., sorry. I'm already on to the next comment here. Mike Buchanan again. And Miss Althea, you're not on here again. I don't know if you posted this time or you didn't or what, but I don't see it. There is a spam folder I can go into, but it's a soul-crushing place to go, so I don't really want to do that right now to retrieve anything that might have went in there because... when you go, I should probably do a video sometime and just read those because, man, people have some really rotten shit to say. And it's like, if you don't like the video, you can go ahead and watch something else or somebody else that but to just get angry and brutal, you're like, my gravy. Mike Buchanan, hey, I didn't get my heart. Well, guess what? Bang, there you go. And yeah. And you're getting a thumb up, too. There you go. So there's that. There you have that, my friends. Another episode of Jive Talkin with Shane D. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I got to turn this off and turn it back on. But I do know that I was doing 1, 2. Let's see. Come on, baby cakes. Let's see. 1, 2. Oh, let's see. 1, 2. There we go. And the tone was 5. 5. No, 5. These buttons are so weird the way they've put these on here. 5. Jive Talkin with Shane D. 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 I gotta get it back on beat. Jive Talkin with Shane D. Jive Talkin with Shane D. Jive Talkin with Shane D. Jive Talkin with Shane D.